Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Cybersecurity Awareness webinar organized by Stanbic IBTC. My name is Timi Badru, and I'm so excited to be your moderator for this webinar. I look forward to a fruitful and definitely insightful and practical conversation. Once again, my name is Timi Badru, and I'm very pleased to be doing this for Stanbic IBTC. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are joining in from, I just want to let you know that we're so glad that you could make it. We're so glad that you could be a part of this conversation. Now, as you're all aware, we're celebrating Cybersecurity Awareness Month globally across the world, and we are putting a spotlight on the theme, See Yourself in Cyber. Now, the beauty of coming to you virtually is that you can tune in from anywhere. You could be at home and you could be tuning in. You could be at work and you're tuning in. You could be in the office, in transit, at a cafe. You could be in the supermarket, in the mall, anywhere. And you could be tuning in to this cybersecurity awareness webinar. So please, in the chat box, let me know your name and let me know where you are tuning in from. Are you in transit? Are you in Lagos? Are you in the UK? Are you in Abuja? Are you in Ibadan? Where are you? Please, in the chat box, let me know where you are joining in from and let me know your name. I see feedback from Happy Love. I see feedback from Kayode saying good afternoon. I see feedback from Yasha Nyambo saying hello, good day. I see Adedeji Franklin saying good afternoon. So please, in the chat box, keep the comments. Keep them coming. I'd love to hear from you. I'd like to know where you are tuning in from. And of course, I'd like to know your name. Please keep it coming. I see a lot of good afternoons here. This one is from Victor Moses. I'm tuning in from my room in Germany. See the beauty of virtual meetings. Just joining from Germany, joining from Australia, from London, from anywhere. I see Blessing Jackson saying, good afternoon. Hi, Blessing. Good afternoon. Where are you tuning in from? Okay, I see a user say from Ivory Coast. I'd love to get your name. Oh, this one is from Lucia saying, I'm in Lagos. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm in Lagos. Okay. Good afternoon from Olanrewaju from Ilorin. Olanrewaju Adekoya. Thank you for joining us. Awal Dew is joining in from Benin. Wow, how's Benin today, this afternoon? Adedeji Franklin says, I'm at home in Lagos. So, okay, I'm happy that you're joining in from home. Tochuku says, from Nigeria. That's Tochuku Obina. I see this one from Martin saying, Chukwemeka Martins from Lagos. Lagos people in here. Risikat Abiola says, good afternoon, Temi. Abiola from Lagos. Hi. I see Innocent from Ikoyi. Tuning in from Ikoyi. Wow. I see Ayo Dimeji from Ivory Coast. Okay, this is the second Ivory Coast person here. Wow, great. Happy to see people from other African countries. Morenike says, my name is Morenike and I'm from Lagos. Steve is, the user says, Bola Akinmutimi from the United States of America. Oh, thank you for tuning in. Adeyeye Olusoji from Apapa, Lagos. Olumide from Lagos. Wow, Lagos is winning. Where are my Abuja people? Where are my Benin people? Where are my Ibadan people? Where are my Kano people? Where are you? Okay, I see someone from Port Harcourt here. Okoye Eziegu from Port Harcourt. Now, someone from Ogun State. Adeto Kumbo Akinshola from Ota in Ogun State. I see Mary. Mary says, hey, yo. Hey to you, Mary. Okay, Rukaya is from Canada. Rukaya Busari tuning in from Canada. How are you doing? Monaco Prince from Lagos. Dirim Emmanuel from Lagos. Okay, from Lagos. Okay, I see Uzoma. Uzoma says, my cyber mama is about to speak. And I mean, that's just referring to our guest. I'm just hailing our guest. A shout out to Confidence. Oops, I mentioned the name. Okay, you know already. You know she's our guest. We've also got Olaye Samuel from Lagos and one person from Abuja. Finally, Grace Omotosho from Abuja. And she's coming in just close to where Nne Naya from Abia State dropped a message. John Manasseh from Lagos. Ellis from Port Harcourt. Wow. So many people in here in the chat box, and we're really delighted to know that you're joining in from different parts of the world. Again, once again, welcome to the cybersecurity webinar organized by Stanbic IBTC. My name is Temi Badru and I'm the moderator. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this session promises to be insightful, and I love to see the engagement in the chat box already. I mean, see the engagement, it's just full already. Keep it coming, keep it coming. And let me tell you something, in the course of this session, let me give you a teaser as to what's coming. In the course of this session, we'll listen to speakers talk about important issues that relate to cybersecurity. And then afterwards, we'll have a Q&A, a question and answer. So those questions you've been waiting to ask, it's time to ask them. Please note those questions. Get ready to ask those questions. Just note them. And when I introduce the speakers, feel free to flood us with the questions when it is Q&A session. Also, if you have other questions about the offerings, the work, inquiries, just around, finding out much more about Stanbic IBTC, this is a platform to ask those questions, and there's going to be a link in the chat box wherever, on whatever platform you're joining in. Click on the link, fill in your questions and your details, and be sure to get an answer soon. So this session is packed. We're ready. Are you ready? Are you ready? I mean, come on, in the chat box, let me know. Are you ready for today? Are you ready? All of our guests, I see someone, Fred from Benway Macaulay. Fred, are you ready? Goodness, are you ready? Gerard, are you ready? I see so many people in here, and we're truly delighted to see you. We are so happy that you could make it. Now, speaking about this session being practical, because I earlier on said that this is going to be a practical session. I don't know if, or maybe I should ask, actually, it's a good place to ask. How many people in this session, how many people who have joined in, know at least one person who has been scammed online or whose account has been used to scam other people? If you know one person, please just drop a message saying, I know someone. I know someone. That's all. I know someone. If you know one person, at least one, whose account has been used to scam someone else or who has even been defrauded online, please drop a message with the person just saying, I know one person. No, don't give us details about the person. No, just tell me that you know at least one person. Now, from the chat box, you see that almost everybody knows one person who's been scammed online or whose account has been used to defraud one another. And that goes to show the importance of this conversation. Recently, speaking about being practical, I got this message online, and a lot of us get them. I believe almost everybody does, where they say, oh, you won 1 billion naira or $1 trillion. Click on this link, download the attachment and claim it, or send your BVN and claim it. Do you get those messages too? Let me know. Am I the only one? I'm sure I'm not. But that just goes to show that cybersecurity threat is a big deal. A lot of money is lost to cybersecurity threats daily. And it's not just individuals, it's individuals and organizations. You don't want somebody cutting away all the money that you sweat for. So the question is, how can we protect ourselves? How can we protect our organizations from cybersecurity threats? And today, we're super excited, drum rolls. We're super excited to have a guest who is one of Africa's most celebrated cybersecurity experts. But before I welcome her to the stage, she's going to be taking us through this conversation, see yourself in cyber, and your role, my own role in ensuring online safety. But before I bring her up, and we have all of the drum rolls and welcome confidence, somebody already dropped a message and says, I'm looking forward to it. Quick question before I ask that, before I bring up our guest. I was going to ask you another one, but I'm looking at the chat box and I'm looking at Lucius saying, I've been scammed. Hey, I see Henry says, now me be the one person. this is real. I mean, these are real practical conversations, and these are things that they're not abstract. I see someone say, I know many people, one person, not even one person. Fortune says, I know one person. Now, can you see in the mouth of one or two witnesses, this thing everyone is testifying to it, that it's practical and it's something that we must discuss. And a big thank you to Stanbic IBTC for putting the spotlight on this important conversation. Now that we know that this is an important conversation, let me now ask one question before I bring up our guest, our award-winning guest. Do you think it is safe to use public network for online banking? Do you think it's safe? I mean, when I mean public network, like, Wi-Fi, you go somewhere, there's Wi-Fi available, and you just use it, you connect to it, and use it for online banking. Do you think it is safe? This is not a trick question. It's not a trick question. I want to know, do you think it is safe? Do you think it is safe to use public network, Wi-Fi for online banking? If you do, please let me know. Let me hear you. Cynthia says it's not. Oh, the way she said that not, it's like I'm dragging people's ears. It is not. Okay, that's Cynthia's opinion. That's Cynthia's opinion. Cynthia Mbanu says it's not. But what's your own opinion? To be honest, what do you think about it? Is it okay? Can we manage it? What do you think about it? I see Olumide say high risk. It's a risk. Okay, Olauton says no, it is not safe. Not in capital. Cynthia says you can be hacked. Are you serious? How will they hack you now? How does it happen? Are you sure? Are you sure? Let me hear from other people. Don't say no because other people are saying no. I want to hear your own honest opinion about it. Do you think it is safe? Okay, you know what? Let me not be the judge of whether it is safe or not. Let me now invite our speaker to tell us about this and to just generally talk about the topic. Ladies and gentlemen, please bring out the emoji that shows that you are clapping. Your best emoji, your favorite emoji, as I welcome to the virtual stage our guest, one of Africa's most celebrated cybersecurity experts. She's the founder of CyberSafe Foundation. She's a global award-winning speaker, multiple award-winning speaker, and she's a member of Forbes Technology Council. I'm talking about none other than Confidence David. A round of applause for Confidence as she takes us through the next session. Over to you, Confidence.
Thank you so much for that very warm, rousing welcome. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us virtually as well. I see the applauses coming in the chat box. Please can and just know that we're going to have a great and very interactive session. And just to answer your question, Temi, it's definitely not safe. I'm sure during the course of this conversation, we'll get to know why it's not safe. But yes, please just keep active with me. Thank you, Temi. Keep it really active with me. Everyone listening to me from all of these beautiful countries and states that you within Nigeria, and know that I want to hear what you have to say because this will be a very interactive session where I'll get what you think. We're going to play games and we're going to learn a lot about cyber and see yourself in cyber. Okay, so I'm waiting for my slide on the screen because today we are going to be we're going to be talking about seeing yourself in cyber, what your role is as a customer. So if you can see my slides right now, give me a thumbs up. If you can see my slides right now, give me a thumbs up. If you can't, it's coming up very, very soon. But what do you think about when I said see yourself in cyber? What came to your mind? Did you think about it and said and to yourself at any point like, okay, there's a role I have to play in cyber? If you didn't think about it that way, this is a reminder to you that even as a technology user, you actually have a role to play in cybersecurity, cyber safety of the tools that you use. Because while the service provider is providing you some service and also doing their side of things to keep you secure, you also have a role to play. I'm not sure if my slides are showing up currently, but I'll just go on. Are my slides showing up at this moment in time? I think I've presented it right now already. Okay. So now, when we talk about seeing yourself in cyber and your role as a person who uses technology, the first key thing I want to mention is that, okay, hold on, so that is fixed. I've done the presentation from my end, so maybe that can be pulled up as well by the team doing fantastic work backstage. So the first key thing I want to note, because I'm running with some time here, is that when you think about seeing yourself in cybersecurity or seeing yourself maybe, it's important to know that cyber criminals don't try to attack people by using technology, the very, very advanced technology tools. Like you see in movies how someone is typing very, very fast at the basement of a building, or someone is wearing a hoodie, those kind of things that happen, It's not just that. They use a key tool called deception. And that tool, deception, is behind most of the biggest hacks in history that we have seen. So in this presentation, I'm going to be showing you some of the key things to look out for and how to stay protected, especially around this very, very prevalent type of attack, which we usually would call social engineering. My slides are already uploaded. I'm not sure why you can't see it yet. Please, can I help here as well? I've already put it up on the stream. Can anyone help me backstage, please? Okay, great. I will just go on. So the key thing around deception is a thinking that I have, which is why hack technology. It's easier to hack human beings. And now, what do I mean? For technology, we require a lot of tools to hack technology. I mean, look at, for example, Stanbic IBTC has put in a lot of things in place to protect systems, but there are still human beings that are using this technology as customers. There are still others that run around the tools you use, such as this platform you're currently using to watch me, be it social media, LinkedIn. There's still a role that you play. So I want to remind you that you have a role to play, because technology has become harder to hack, but humans are not enriching themselves with the knowledge required to become harder to hack. Rather, since technology becomes very hard to hack, cyber criminals are turning to humans to hack them by deceiving them. So now, in this context of deception, a key thing I want to first and foremost start with is that your bank will never ask you for your PIN, for your CVV, that's the 3 numbers behind your card, or the complete number in front of your card, or your verification code or one-time password that is sent to your phone. So let's get that out of the way. That there is no way your bank, like Stanbic IBTC Bank, will never ask for any of this information. So if anybody asks you for this piece of information, know that that person is indeed a fraudster, a scammer. So I spoke about deception as a major way that cyber criminals use to defraud people or to commit cybercrime. In very technical terms, it's called social engineering. So what is social engineering? Social engineering is the act of psychologically manipulating people into divulging or to give up sensitive information or taking harmful action. Now, sensitive information like giving off their CVV or their full card number or any of those information I have shared earlier on. I mean, we've heard about people's social media account being hacked, like Temi mentioned. It could just be a code that was sent to your phone, and you thought that call that came through was from your bank, and then you give the person such a code. You have use your own hand to kill yourself, literally, because that person is going to have access to your online account, not because that platform wasn't secure, but because you didn't do your part in cyber. Another example could be receiving an email and clicking on a link, that email, when that link itself is harmful or the attachment is harmful. So another key thing I want us to go away with is that deception can happen over email. When it happens over email, it's called phishing. Okay, stay with me. It's called phishing. If you know how phishing is spelled, please type it in the comment section so everybody can learn together. Okay, then when it is committed using a voice call, like over a phone call, it is called vishing. VISHING. But when it happens over text message platforms, it's called smishing. So these are all the major ways that deception can happen. And sometimes it happens as a combination of these 3 types or 2 types. Thank you so much, Adeze. Adeze has spelled phishing for us using, she's joining us on YouTube, and she has spelled phishing for us. Thank you so much, Adeze. So a key thing to also note is that there are some key social engineering tricks that I want to teach you so that you'll be wise. So you know how they say to be, so you go wise up, so you'll be cyber smart. So you will see yourself in cyber, take action and protecting yourself. So one of the key things cyber criminals will do, they'll gain trust by being familiar with you. So for example, if somebody calls you and gives you your date of birth over the phone, you immediately feel like that person knows you, right? Or maybe somebody calls you and said, oh, you know your child's school, we're in the same PTA group, So in that WhatsApp group together, did you see how church was today? When someone says that, you say, this person, we are in the same church group. So this person cannot do anyhow. So your person trust. So immediately somebody calls you or starts interacting with you, and one of the first things they do is give you information about yourself or to be very familiar with you. That should be what? A red flag. Another key thing that cyber criminals always is that they try to be helpful. They try to help you solve a problem. So sometimes, many of those times, that problem does not exist. For example, they call you on the phone. You were about to close your account because we saw, we saw suspicious activity. So for us to help you close the account, okay, give us the one-time password that's been sent to your phone or something along those. Usually, when they give you those kind of panic information, they're trying to be helpful to you. Meanwhile, they are not really the Messiah or the Savior. They are actually creating the problem itself. But a key thing I want you to remember is that they also stir emotions. What do I mean by that? You see, computers, currently we're joining this stream using a computer, a laptop, or a phone. Computers or computing devices, as you may call it, they don't have emotions. They don't feel greed. They don't feel fear. They don't feel greed. They don't feel fear. They don't have desire. Like how you say, I want to jackpot. Oh. Immediately you say, I want to jackpot. That's a desire. Any scam that comes around jackpot may catch you. Or if like you want to buy iPhone, you're seeing a brand new iPhone for 50K. How is that even possible? The person that will be giving the opportunity is stirring up greed or urgency. Something that causes you to panic. Immediately you are feeling afraid or you're curious. Your mind is already, your sense of logic is already scattered. That's why you see sometimes people get kind of, they're like, I didn't know how that happened. The reason criminals were able to do that was because they had any one of these emotions. So please look at these emotions very clearly, very, very well, carefully. If you feel any of these emotions via a text message or a phone call with a stranger or an email, whether or not the email is coming from somebody you know, please pause and think before you act. If you feel desire, fear, greed, urgency, panic, excitement, trust, or curiosity, please pause and logically process it. But right now, it's game time. So please be on standby. We are going to play a game right now. And I want you the answer to this question I'm going to ask. I want you to give me the answer in 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Use the comment section really to give me your answers as quickly as possible. But I must also tell anyone here that is not a Christian to please pardon me. This was just an example. I'm not discriminating against you, right? This is just an example that I could make up. Okay. So are we ready? Is everybody ready? Okay, we're going to count down now. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Give me the answer right now. Is there anyone who is going to be the first person to give me an answer to this question? Really quickly, who is the first person? The first person to give me the answer to this question. I can't wait to see your responses. Who has the answer? How many? How many of each animals? Okay, quickly. Let's see the answers. Okay, our time is running out. Anyone wants the answers using the chat box on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube. Great, answers are coming. Emmanuel says 2. Ridwan says 2. Gochuku says 2. Lumide is saying 16. Hey. Okay, Akimbiyo Joshua. Hold that answer right there. Please, let's take note of Joshua's answer. Okay, Ogochuku, great answer. Tochuku, fantastic. Okay, Olumide. Okay, so I think we already have a winner. If this was Joshua is the winner. Joshua is the winner of this contest. If this was a contest with a prize, and this is why Joshua is the winner. Joshua's answer to this question was, let me look for Joshua's answer. Not Moses, it's Noah. Because what has just happened is that I have socially engineered everybody on this call. Do you see what happened? No, many of you did not realize that the question itself was wrong. Because I used urgency. When I told you that you only have 10 seconds to respond, that was my way of making you act fast without thinking thoroughly. Do you see the trick now? Do you all see the trick? Do you all see the trick? So that is exactly what cyber criminals, they say, just give me the now, just read it to me over the phone. Because of that, you have just been told that something bad is happening. You want to act quickly. You're not processing it yet. Actually, this whole question was wrong, and it took Joshua to point it out. Joshua was the first person that pointed it out. So that's exactly how cyber criminals do these things. So a key thing that I want to establish is, what do they want from you? Some people say, what do I have that these cyber criminals want? They want your identity. Because remember what he said at the beginning of this call. If they are not scamming you, they can use you to scam other people, use your account to scam people, or to use your account to do many bad things, that could get you into trouble. So they want to use your account. Another key thing is they want all of your money. Okay, they want your sensitive information, they want your online account as well. So then I want to also remember that there is one thing called email compromise. Now, a key thing is that we all communicate via emails quite a lot, and cyber criminals know this. So what they're doing is they're also using emails quite a lot to make people take those harmful actions. They are targeting people. Remember, we said there are 3 ways they try to deceive people: via phone call, and what? Via voice call. Don't forget. So we are saying that of all these tools, we are also seeing an increase in cyber criminals targeting people via email. So sometimes they send email that is such a way that they're making it look like it's from an email address that you already know or you communicate with. Sometimes they send a link and it's very harmful in that email. So we're going to be touching on all of those things so that you can know what to look out for. So now we want to touch on tricks and trends that cyber criminals use. They use something called shortened web addresses. So you see all those WhatsApp messages, those WhatsApp broadcast messages that go around on WhatsApp when there's or any such thing of a big company, like this kind of web addresses. Be very cautious of this kind of addresses. Some of them start with tinyurl.com and then the real address is there. Or bit.ly.com. Legitimate organizations use it, but also cyber criminals know that is how they can hide a harmful web address under something that doesn't look like it's a bad thing. So you should also be very careful of shortened URLs. If you get a shortened URL as a message on WhatsApp or via email, copy the web address without clicking on it, and use checkshorturl.org to see the full URL so you can be sure is this web address harmful or not. Another key thing that they do is they can send you a text message. Okay, you have just gotten this job, and they follow up with a phone call. Now that job is fake, for example, and they want to get your money off you. So that way, where they call you, they send you a text message first and then call you immediately. That is what is called a combination of smishing and vishing. They use the two quite a lot. Another key thing that cyber criminals do is they bait using relevance. What does that mean? They dangle something attractive in front of you. And they make sure that thing is aligned with what's happening currently. They're very current. Cyber criminals are very, very current. So when it's Mother's Day, they'll start sending messages, broadcasts on WhatsApp about getting one Mother's Day gift. How Adidas is sharing free sneakers to celebrate Mother's Day. How this Toyota, for example, is turning 25. So they are doing this. They are giving free gifts here. All of that. Be very careful. So global events, any trending announcements, cyber criminals will jump on it and create something out of it. They also impersonate a lot. So they will take on the appearance of organizations or people that you trust. So we're going to play a game very soon. But for example, if they were to take on the appearance of maybe they just create a web address that looks like it is your bank's web address, which again would definitely not be. And then they now use it to make you believe that it's your bank. That's something that they do very much. Or they could call you and pretend to be someone that works with your bank or another trusted organization. So be very careful. They also use targeted emails where, for example, they will say your name, hello Kingsley, hello this, so you would feel like, it's really my bank or it's really that trusted organization that is communicating with me, but it's not the organization. So you be very, very careful as well. I made mention about lookalike domains. When you see something like cyber week, and one of the cyber is replaced by 3, is it the same thing? It is not the same thing. So it's very, very important that you look, when you receive an email, you expand the sender's address and look at it very well. A lot of us also download apps from very funny websites. They are not like Google Store or Apple Store that you go to go and download the apps. Download it from randomly anywhere on the internet. It's very important that you don't do that. Oh, let me hold my ear and drag it. Because what can happen is that you could be downloading what is called a banking malware. These are harmful tools that you can put on your phone, and you don't even know that they are harmful tools. But what they are doing, they are stealing your information and sending it to the bad guys. The next thing start happening, I say, my bank is not doing it, my bank is not. You were the one that went around downloading a beauty app, downloading a torchlight app that you don't need, downloading one software cleaner like that you don't need, and you were not downloading it from your official store account. So it's very important that you pay close attention. And we're seeing a lot of opportunity scams. People say, okay, I can do your immigration thing, and something online that you've not verified anything. Be very careful of all of those kind of investments as well. So now let us touch on one very important example, and I'm going to show you practically so you can learn. A friend of mine received an email. The email is the screenshot to the right. She received this email, and the backstory is that a day ago, she had tried to add someone to her online banking platform as a beneficiary. She could not successfully add the person for one reason or the other. And so when she received this email the next day, that someone had just been added to her bank account. This person had just been added to her bank account. This is a real life example. Okay, so she saw that she received this email, and she looked at the beneficiary's name, and she did not recognize the person. She put her hand on her head. She said, "Oh my God, what has happened? Someone had just been added to my account." She panicked. What did I tell you about emotions? Cyber criminals do what they use emotions. Now look at this part of this email too that says link. If you did not add the beneficiary, kindly follow the link to suspend and deactivate unauthorized access on your account. And they put the link was a fake link. It was a link leading to a website that looks like her bank's website, but was not her bank's website. Okay, and I've been seeing that there are grammatical errors here as well. Okay, now if my friend had calmed down to expand this portion, the header of her email that she received, she would have seen that this email, see the address of the sender. Does this look legitimate to you? It is not legitimate. So, but she received this and she panicked and she clicked on the link. Now, let me tell you what happened. After she has filled in her bank details on that particular website, she now realized, my God, this website doesn't look legitimate. And then she sent the email to me. By the time I did the analysis on the email, I found out that not only were they put something at the back of the website, not only to get her banking details, but also to plant something called another kind of malware, that presents a backdoor to the bad guys so that they can use that platform and keep getting to her accounts. So whether or not she changed her login details, they still had access to that laptop. So that was what they did. So imagine how dangerous it is to just click on a link or open an attachment when you are not sure of it. And this other one as well to the left is another example of a case I've dealt with. Now, the person said the transaction debit for VAT increase of 7.5% is 138,000 naira. So she panicked and then she clicked on the link. These are all very educated people. So I want you to pay great attention to all of these little details. Now, quickly, I want us to play my last game before we close out on this presentation. Can you all spot the difference between the two addresses? Which one is correct? Is it address A to the left or address B to the right? Anyone wants to tell me? We are going to quickly receive your feedback. So I'm going to come back to this, but use the comment section to quickly tell me which of those two addresses is the correct address. Okay? Now, okay, so somebody has picked up, Ridwan has picked up a very important tip. He said the one with the double I, I'm assuming that the one with the double I is not correct. So address A is correct. Thank you so much, Ridwan. Let's give Ridwan a round of applause. Thank you so much. So that's how, you see, this is how cyber criminals can do it. They add one extra character, or they substitute a character, an alphabet with a number. And that's how they can take to confuse you. And you'll not be thinking, this is Netflix website. Meanwhile, it's not Netflix website, and you put your details in there. So be very, very careful. So these are tips to keep you safe before we close out, because I'm just about to close out my session, and I hope you've learned quite a lot. The first thing I said is stop and what? Think. If you are thinking very well, you most likely will see the little things. Things like grammatical error, the sender's name, the formatting. If your a trusted organization is sending you an email, it will be properly arranged, the logo will be sharp and things like that. When you start seeing grammatical error, there's something wrong there. When you start seeing the sender's address sender is coming from a funny address, be very careful. When you put your mouse over the link that is contained in the email and you look to the bottom left of your screen, what do you see? Does the link there look normal? If they're using a shortened URL, like I taught you, copy the link out without clicking on it and put it on checkshorturl.com. Another key thing is, if there's an attachment, what you can do is download that attachment without opening it and go to virustotal.com and check if it is clean. So be very, very careful when you receive any of this, receive any communication. Also, verify authenticity. We have just taught you about the red flags, So know those red flags. Are they stirring up emotions in you, wanting you to take any action, radically? Please be very careful. I said assess the sender's name. And when you see that there's something wrong, screams or it's okay, report it. Another key thing is you should have a zero trust mindset. Don't trust anything until you verify. And if you receive an email with a link or an attachment, and I just told you just a few seconds ago what you should do, use virustotal.com to scan that attachment before opening it, because it can tell you if it has a virus or a Trojan or anything else that's a malware there, okay? Also, it's important that you turn on two-factor authentication, and you should have a strong password. By two-factor authentication, I mean an extra layer of security, and this is usually free. So turn this on all your online accounts that you're joining me on today, on your Facebook, on your Twitter, on your Instagram, on your LinkedIn, on your YouTube. Turn it on, it is free. Also, install an antivirus software on your phone, and also only download apps from your app store. Remember, if you must use free Wi-Fi for any reason and do bank, in fact, avoid using free Wi-Fi to do any banking for a start, because it's very, very, very dangerous. It's very dangerous. Anybody can stay on the same network with you and steal your information. Thank you so much for your attention, for giving me attention. And I know that my time is spent, but I am going to be waiting here to receive your questions around deception and how cyber criminals use it and how you can protect yourself if you have any more questions. Thank you so much. Tell me, you can take the floor back.
Thank you so much, Confidence. Confidence, this was so insightful. I mean, I took notes, just learning so much from what you said. You taught us about phishing, social engineering, vishing. Now we know the difference between phishing and phishing. And apart from all those terms, we really just saw how that these things are practical. So you made it really practical. So thank you so much. And just to show an experience I had, which was so similar with you. There was a particular day someone reached out to me and just called me. I don't know where he got my number from, but he said, "Oh, is this Temi?" I was like, "Oh, yes, it is Temi." He said, "It is me. Don't you know me? Who are you? Don't you know me?" I said, "This one is a scammer." He said, "Don't you know me?" I said, "Wow." I said, "Oh, is it Mr. XYZ?" So I called one name that I've never met. So let's say I said, "Is this Mr. Jane Doe?" He said, "Yes." Now, why are you acting like you don't know me? See, there's a contract. I said, "Wow, Mr. Jane Doe." And that day I had time. So we discussed this fictitious contract, and at the end of the day, I say, "This thing you're doing is bad, Mr. Jane Doe. Don't scam people." He said, "Rubbish." So he insulted me. I said, "Wrong person." But really, this is practical. A lot of people have lost money. A lot of people's accounts, even very unfortunately, have even been used to scam other people because they got access to the account and started scamming other people. So it's like, you've got to be very careful so you don't open door to other people to also be, to just be threatened because of you. Thank you so much, Confidence. And please don't go anywhere. Please just sit back as we go on and just take a seat. After the next speaker, would ask you to come up again and take questions. Thank you so much, Confidence. Ladies and gentlemen, trust you had an insightful session. Please, let's give Confidence a round of applause in the comment box. Please drop a round of applause. If you learned anything at all, please drop it there. This is my major takeaway from it. Drop it and then put your favorite emoji, that emoji that says "I'm clapping for you." Put it there as we celebrate her. Now to the next speaker. This has just been a tip of the iceberg. We've had one speaker. I'm moving on to the next speaker now. So I'll say that tighten your seatbelt, get ready to enjoy. I mean, you've had a tip of the iceberg, but we're going further and we're learning and just sharing much more. Now, the next speaker he is the CISO, Chief Information Security Officer at Stanbic IBTC Holdings PLC. I'm talking about none other than Igwa Apumere. He's going to be talking about tips for staying safe doing online transactions. Let's give him a round of applause as I hand over to him. You're welcome.
All right, thanks, Temi. Good afternoon, esteemed ladies and gentlemen. It's and all our invited guests and audience. It's with great pleasure that I welcome you all to this webinar. And really, on behalf of the entire Stanbic and the management at Stanbic IBTC, we appreciate you for joining us on this virtual session. It's always a learning process, especially when I join sessions that confidence always has the opportunity to present. There's always one takeaway feedback from each session, and I'm happy I've also picked one up again today. So I would really want to take this opportunity to speak around the importance of staying safe online. Really, as a staff of Stanbic IBTC and as an organization, Stanbic IBTC, we really put our clients at the forefront of all what we do. So we are very client centric, and we are passionate in the way we handle our clients' data. So we've really sat down to come up with this theme for the webinar today, which is really about seeing yourself in cyber. And I think there's really no other time to present this particular topic or speak to this particular topic. And it's really because today we see a lot of transformation around technology. We see the rate in which technology is rapidly innovating. And just as technology changes, we then also see the risk around cybersecurity continue to increase because we are playing catch up really when it comes to the innovation in technology. So what has also kind of made it a very difficult situation, not just only for us in Stanbic as an organization when we conduct our business, but also globally. It's really the challenges faced with the ongoing Russia and Ukraine conflict. It has given rise to different ways or forms in which criminals can perpetrate their activities. And we, as an organization, playing a very key and strategic role within the financial space, we are forced to remain on top of our toes. We are forced to continually engage our clients and we educate them around the dangers of carrying out transactions online. We also forced to ensure that we share as much as possible key tips that can help you stay online and remain safe as you interact with these different digital or electronic channels, as the case may be. I think really, if we try to look at the whole area of cybersecurity, a lot of us would continue to run wild in trying to understand that domain. And the thing is, it looks like it's a very complex subject, but really, if you look at the underlying factor, it's all about human beings. It's all about people. It's all about you and me. We do so well when it comes to how we protect things like ATM cards, how we protect, how we carry cash. You're walking out of a bank. You try as much as possible to put the cash you are carrying in a hidden let's say envelope or something, just to ensure that it's not displayed and not very visible to public, because it can actually create attractions. It can attract the bad forces towards you. So those kind of feelings and precise principles that we adhere to when we try to protect that physical cash, or the form of ATM cards. We also need to apply those principles to how we protect our information. We need to look at, because information is now very key. It's now vital to how you carry out transactions today, how you are able to interact with other peers within the whole internet or digital space. So for us, a few tips we would like to share, just taking toll from what Confident had mentioned or said earlier. One would start with the devices you use to connect to your internet systems, your online systems, to carry out your transactions. It's always very key that you keep the software updates of those devices up to date, just to ensure that you are not exposed to any weakness or vulnerability that would require some level of patch to give you that sense of security. The other bit is, how do you um, how do you protect the use of that device? So how do you authenticate yourself against that device? Ensure that your devices, be it mobile devices, be it laptop devices, be it iPads, as the case may be, you have security codes or security pins that you use to authenticate yourself against those devices. And those codes, passwords, pins, whatever form you want to implement or define, must be known to you alone. We also encourage the use of multi-factor authentication. So multi-factor authentication, you would see that we, as an institution, we are also transitioning away from the use of what we call one-time passwords, though they are still relevant today because of certain types of or forms in which we carry out transactions. But there's a shift to move away from just the use of one-time passwords. So you are going to be looking at things like your multi-factor authentication apps. You're going to be looking at things like soft tokens, hardware tokens. Those are other forms in which we also, the digital space is also looking to transition to, and also move away from use of passwords. So it's to encourage that as we carry out transactions, as we use these devices, we try to learn of these new ways in which we can improve the way we authenticate against these devices. I think one other trend we've also seen within the industry is where a lot of times customers complain that their devices are stolen, and once they're stolen, the fraudster is able to use the same and carry out transactions on behalf of that customer. So you're ultimately impersonating that customer. So what we've now, the industry is now looking at to address, and also Starbig is looking at to address and recommending to our customers to address such forms of challenges, is the use of SIM locks. So your SIM locks, you can put in pins or codes to actually lock your SIM, so that once that SIM is taken away from your actual device and put in to a fraudulent device, it's going to prompt that fraudster to provide um, a pin for the to unlock the SIM. So that is another form of control. We are not saying these things are 100% going to resolve the problem, but I think the mindset is to make it much more difficult. Is to make it almost impossible, near impossible, for the fraudster to carry out those forms of attack and frustrates them, because the more they are forced to look at new ways to beat the system you've put in place, the more it becomes more expensive for them, and that kind of demotivates them to want to move further in such situations. We also have implemented a few other self-service controls on our mobile channels, and also our internet banking channels, where you are able to also control. So we've put the power in the hands of the customer, and that's why I said earlier on that Starbucks is customer centric. We listen to the customers, and we try to ensure that we are able to provide solutions that address customers' needs. So what we've also done is to put in our online channels capabilities that will empower you as a customer, your turn, to take charge of your account, to take charge of your transaction, to protect um, valuable or sensitive information. So if you log on to your mobile apps today, you see that your account information is masked, it's not in clear, and that's because we can't determine at which location you will be situated when you want to use that information, and you don't want that kind of sensitive information like your account balances just to be displayed in public. So you want to be in charge of that. So we've empowered the customer to be able to do that. Things like BVN require now that you provide a one-time password to be able to view your BVN information. Um, we also put in place controls that will ensure that you can adjust your transaction limits. So in when you are carrying out your financial transactions, so you can actually reduce or increase. So it's all in the hands of the customer to determine what you are more suitable with. Then we also ensure that you're able to block your card, you're able to suspend your account in the event that you believe that there's some suspicious fraudulent behavior, suspicious activity, and you need to respond quickly to address that issue before it becomes it leads to some final kind of financial loss at the end of the day. So you would clearly see the mindset shift, rather than with rather than creating that long delays in trying to respond to fraud or cyber related issues. We are now empowering you as a customer to be able to do that timely and quickly as much as possible, because that's really where we become winners as customers, because once we are able to respond quickly, then we are able to prevent we were able to prevent faster, and we're able to do a lot more. We've talked about multi-factor or authentication also. So that's also a good way, though it's not 100% the solution, but it's really a very good way a very good way to make to put some barrier to the success of the fraudster. Then I think the other thing I really want to also touch on it's how we also interact when we are in social media platforms. Um, we encourage as much as possible, try and avoid sharing your personal identifiable information on social media channels. We've seen situations where fraudsters would create campaigns on their own and try to attract as much as possible potential victims that they can exploit to commit fraud. So what they will do is they will create a campaign saying they are giving out some financial rewards at a particular point in time, and they would ask for you to provide your account details, or sometimes they ask for you to provide your BVN information and or contact mobile numbers. These are just ways to get access to information they could not get through your banks because of the controls the banks have your bank has put in place. So what they will do is go to those social media platforms and try to get that information from you. And that also speaks to one of the mediums that Confident had mentioned earlier, which is speaking to social engineering forms of attacks. So they would use these mediums, encourage you, play on your emotions, try to make you reveal this type of information, and then use that information to social engineer you again. So we would encourage as much as possible, try and avoid sharing your personal identifiable information online. So I would really stop at this point, and I would just ask that we reflect today on the theme, which is seeing yourself in cyber. I encourage each and every one of you to really grasp some of the key salient points we've talked about today or discussed during the course of this webinar. And then we are also available to take questions and respond to some of the questions you might likely put on the chat, and would we're also available to also take any inquiries as it relates to cybersecurity or even the organization Stanbic IBTC. Thanks once again to the entire audience for joining. Thank you also, Confidence, for supporting Stanbic IBTC on this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abu. Thank you so much for sharing. Very insightful. And while you were speaking, I just thought to myself that it's really great to know that, Stanbic IBTC is customer centric, focused on customers, thinking about measures to put in place to be sure that, customers' interest is not affected negatively, just to ensure that these measures are put in place. You did touch on some of them, and I took note. You talked about, the just customers having the features that enable them have access to, blocking their accounts and their, say, like, for example, maybe their ATM or something very fast if somebody wants to breach it, or just reducing or increasing limits. You talked about quick response, which I think is very important, because Confidence did mention in our presentation how that these people who perpetrate these evils usually work with urgency, they work with speed, they tell you do it now. But when we have a bank that is available and is quick to respond, we're able to combat the evil that such people are bringing. So thank you so much to you, Abu, and thanks generally to Stanbic IBTC for this great work, just looking to the interest of customers so that we are we're safe, really, because safety is important for everyone now. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for Q&A. This is the opportunity to drop those questions that you have about cyber threats, questions you have about cyber security, questions you have, all of those questions. Somebody sent you a message and you're just thinking, what's the best way to respond? You don't know how to go about this. This is the platform. And thankfully, I've got Confidence standing by. I've also got Abu standing by. And the both of them are ready to take your questions. So now here's the thing. If you don't ask any questions, I will open it to them to ask you questions. And then you have to answer the questions. But I'm sure you have questions. Please keep them coming in if you're still here. Let us know. Let us know in the chat box. I want to see the chat box buzzing again. Are you here? Are you here? Are you listening? Are you learning? And do you have questions? Once again, thank you so much, Abu, for sharing tips and for telling us some of the things that Stanbic IBTC is doing. And Confidence, definitely, for those tips on how we can be safe online. I see feedback now from Ugochukwu. He says that this is really insightful. This is really insightful. Thank you, Ugochukwu, and thanks to Stanbic IBTC for putting together a webinar that's really insightful. I mean, I can see the comment box. Okay, can I have questions now? Questions, questions. Anybody who's got question on anything that they have said? If you have questions on anything they said. Okay, while we are waiting for the questions to come up, I've got a quick question. So Confidence, in your presentation, you did mention how that, okay, I hear that there are questions. I see that there are questions, and I would like it to be displayed. Okay. So I can't see the questions at the moment, but I believe that there are questions. Okay. Okay, Confidence, can you see a question on the screen, please?
Yes, I can, Temi.
Okay, please
It's
go
from
ahead and check.
Ogochukwu Nancy Peter. Yeah.
Okay.
So the question is, she's asking for the website to check a fake link. So I am not sure which exactly she's talking about, but I'm going to share the two I shared earlier. So if it is a shortened URL, like I said, if you see a link, generally now some of us are getting wiser. So when you see study abroad 2347891 it will immediately trigger you and say this is fake, right? So the cyber
Yeah.
criminals are now taking that link, putting it in a link shortening service that is legitimate, like tinyurl. So the web address will now be tinyurl.com/scholarship. That way, you will not know that the link under is something that on a good day, you are seeing the long thing, you are saying this thing is fake. So in such a situation, you want to expand the link before you to look at it before you actually make that decision. You can use a website called checkshorturl.com. Check short URL. When you put the link you have copied there and you click expand, it will expand it until you can see what is hidden under that link shortener. The second tool I mentioned was virustotal.com. So if you receive an email with a link that you can see, but still you're not sure, or an attachment to an email that you were not expecting, if that email is coming from someone you know or you don't know, if you're not expecting that attachment, you should still be very careful, because remember what we said earlier, Temi, that someone could hack another person to then use that person to hack someone
Hack
else in their
other
sphere of
people.
influence. Do you know
Yes.
what I mean? So even if the person is known to you and you are not expecting that attachment, a rule of thumb is download it without clicking on it. Then upload that attachment to a website called virustotal.com. It is free. It will run some tools on it and you get to see an analysis. Does it have a malware? Is it clean? There are many sources they check that file against. Okay. So you
Okay,
can do that
Confidence,
for
just
both. Yeah, you can do that for both the link and the attachment.
okay. So you did mention. I mean, just so I'm clear, you said we should download the the attachment. Is that what you said? Download the
Yeah, but
attachment.
not open it. I mean, you have to do this on a computer. So they're just very clear. So
Okay.
you're not very sure of it. Like you're not able to manipulate doing that. Just leave it. But I would say if you can download on your computer without opening it, because the real thing happens for the attachment. When you open it, you set things in motion. When you click a link as well, you set things in motion. But if you download it and just upload, you go to virustotal.com, upload that file without opening it. Then it can tell you can give a report as to is this a trustworthy document? Is it actually a document, or is it something else that's hidden under? In making my presentation shorter, I took out one of the slides that I would have shown you with something that looked like a PDF, but wasn't a PDF. When we ran it against it, it was actually a file that could run and install harmful code on your computer. So if you're able to use Virus Total to scan that document in advance, you can do that. Also, last thing before I go off, if you have a good antivirus as well, you won't need to download that attachment. The antivirus as well may do that scan for you in advance in some really good top shelf antiviruses.
Wow, that was really insightful. So there's a way around it. But as you mentioned, as you cautioned, if you're not sure that you can go around it, well, just leave it alone.
Hmm.
Now, confidence, you know there's this thing they
I
say
just
about
wanted to
giving.
add a few lines,
Okay, yes, please.
if you don't mind. Yeah. So I just wanted on the last point Confidence mentioned around antivirus. What a few of the providers do today is they add a capability they call heuristic scanning. So with heuristic scanning, what that then means is that you are then able to scan based on behavior. So you no longer just look for known malwares. You can actually determine or identify a potential malware just by the behavior. So we also recommend that as you search for or implement an antivirus solution, you look at one that has that kind of capability, so that it goes beyond just looking for what is already known, which becomes reactive, rather takes it to a level where you are looking at behavior, and that makes you more proactive on protecting yourselves. Thank you.
Wow, wow. Ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me that this is such a big deal. This is such an important conversation. I mean, staying safe is important. And I'm really glad that we're having this conversation. Now, I was going to ask you about, generally, there's this thing, I don't know if I'm the only one that likes giveaway, but a lot of us, we like giveaway. Somebody says, I'm doing something now. Please drop your account details and get 20,000 naira, who knows, maybe $20,000. Everybody just rushes. And we want to put in our account details and everything. And then we're learning that that is unsafe. Can you speak to that? And is there any way we can manage it? I mean, is there a way you can manage it? You'll still get the money, you still do the giveaway, but still, you know, remain safe. I'd appreciate if you can just speak to that, please.
I think Mr. Boo wants to go first, then I'll
Please,
back
Mr.
him
Boo
up.
can go
Okay.
first.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Confidence, and thanks, Temi, for that question. So yes, it's highly discouraged. That's the first comment I would want to put out there. And really, it's because most times the request is it's from fraudsters. I can bet you 90% of the time it's fraudsters asking for such information. So um, we don't encourage our customers to respond to such forms of engagement online. The other bit is it's more of a people um, control. So rather than a technology control, um, you can't, because you are working with platforms that are globally used and shared with other um, people across the globe. It's not limited to Nigeria. So in terms of censorship, it becomes very difficult to censor such type of information. So what we would do is we would continue to push awareness to our customers, because we can't control how information is uploaded on those platforms. And nobody can. If any bank tells you that, it's totally right. Nobody can control how information is put on those systems. But what we can do is advise our customers to avoid sharing such information. I think the long-term solution really is when we come as a nation and we take these things very serious. So we are looking towards the likes of NITDA, NSA, the Nigerian security agencies, those kind of bodies to support how we have a lasting solution to addressing this type of problem. So unless it's taken as a national focused responsibility, I don't believe it's the responsibility of any individual bank to be able to um, totally solve that problem. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much for sharing your thoughts, Mr. Boo. I would really like to hear Confidence thoughts on this as well. I'm sure she's eager to
I,
share with us.
yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting topic for me as well. And I'll just share one fun experience I had last year. A very popular celebrity was doing a giveaway on Instagram, and in my head, I really thought that her account had been hacked. So I called a producer on a movie she's been on, and I said, "Oh, Auntie, this. Please, can you help me call this person? I think her account has been hacked because they are collecting a lot of information to do a giveaway from there." And she checked with the person, and the person's account actually wasn't hacked. The person who was the owner was actually asking people to drop their banking details for her giveaway. And I think a lot of times people don't, on both sides, don't know that that's dangerous or personally identifiable information, like Mr. Abu had said. And going back to my presentation, remember what I said about familiarity. There are tools online that can harvest this information at scale. So if I run a tool on Twitter now, I have a particular tool. I won't put I won't say the name, but I can get a lot of this kind of information by putting in some short queries. I can pull out what account people's account details that have been publicly shared. Do you want to be the kind of person that a bad guy can use that kind of tool and pull the information out and begin to gain things to become familiar with you? Because that's what is happening. Aside other things that can happen along the line. So I would definitely say don't share your personal information. If you're running a giveaway, please ask other questions that are not personally identifiable. And then when you find your winner in the inbox, you can then say, okay, I will DM you. And then in the inbox, that's a private communication. You can then ask for these details. I think that's safer and more responsible. Another key thing I want to mention is that because of our role in cyber safe, we sort of like play a lot of advocacy. We do a lot of advocacy work. Recently, we're working with. Sorry, let me not mention the name of the social media platform, but there's a social media platform we're working closely with, and we've given them a list of words that we believe should be censored. One of them is bank details. So this year or early next year, when you're trying to type that word out, there will be something that will warn you that you're giving off sensitive information. And I think this is also work that would like to replicate across the other social media platforms. So at that point, if you still go and put out your personal information, or your is your case, but definitely that's something like Mr. Abu said, we need to work at scale. So social media platforms can help us flag these kind of things and warn people about it as well. Oh, I think we've lost Demi there. Okay.
Yeah, I think we've
Maybe
lost.
yeah, maybe I'll play the MC for a bit for a while. Can play the role for a short while. Are there any more questions from anyone? If you have any more questions, please just drop them in the chat box. Okay, Temi is back.
Because I came in when I heard you saying that you were just standing in for a bit. Thank you so much. Wow, wow. This has really, really, really been insightful. And we've got only a few minutes to go, but a lot has been said really about how we can stay safe online and more to preventative measures, preventive measures just to be sure that we're staying safe and everything. I'd like you to speak to very briefly, if you can speak to a person who um a person who's perhaps his account or social media platforms, or just a person whose content online or even account has been breached. What do you recommend that the person should do? Maybe if you can speak to that briefly, what steps would you say? Oh, you're already in the position where this is no longer preventive again. The person has given out the details and now there's trouble. What do you recommend? Let me go from start with confidence this time around, then I'll go to Abu.
Okay, thank you so much, Temi. I'm just really going to step a bit, like step backward a bit. So, it's more important to prepare for this kind of scenario. So before it gets to happen, to be in a better place when it happens, if it
Yes.
happens, is to prepare for it ahead of time. So a key thing to do with your online account, first of all, must turn on two-factor authentication, like or multi-factor authentication. Like Mr. Abu has said, it's not 100% like it's not impregnable. That means it's not unhackable, but it increases the difficulty for which
Yes, the chances.
criminals to go through to be able to go get it. Two, also do the same thing, as in make sure your passwords are different for your online account, because what can happen, we see a lot of times, is that they hack somebody's social media account, but because the password for their email recovery email is the same, the person also gets to hack their email. So you cannot even use the email as a recovery point for that person's online account, because the cyber criminal already has access to that as well. So ensure your passwords are strong and unique, and two-factor is turned on across all your accounts. Now, if two-factor authentication is turned on across all your accounts, what will happen is, if your social account has been hacked, there will be an email or something that will be sent to your email account. From there, you can see what the recovery process is for the online platform specifically. You can also place a complaint and start the recovery process from the online platform. But the key thing to note is, the faster you act, the better for you. As time goes on, the chances of you recovering will be way lesser. For your bank account, a key thing to note is, make sure that when you lose your device, right, or before you lose your device, you should know the short code for your USSD, for your bank account, for your bank, the short USSD code that can block debit on your account. So different banks have different codes. Once you dial that code from any phone at all, not your own that has been stolen, for example, because your phone can be stolen and they use it for different things, right? Immediately that happens, get hold of someone else's phone and type that code. So that's why I'm saying what you do before it happens is very important. So once you can block debit on your account, you can go into your physical branch and then lay the complaint, and of
Complete.
course taken care of. So it's important that you act really fast if something like that is happening. I think I'm going to seek the stage now for Mr. Abu to also say something.
Yes, and perhaps Mr. Abu, you could just make these final words because I see that we've run out of time. So you could just wrap this up as closing words. I mean, it's been a great time, really. Just final thoughts on it. Okay, I've lost him briefly, but confidence. Let me come back to you now. I wish we could go on because this is one of the sessions we want to keep learning. But I'm glad that you're available on social media. You got some amazing content, and people can just follow you, reach out to you, and learn more. And just see to also the content that's available on Stanbic IBTC social media pages and also learn more. So I'm glad that the conversation continues beyond this webinar. But I'd like you to take your final thoughts now. Okay, Abu is back. Can you hear and see us very clearly?
Yes, yes, I
Okay,
can hear you. Apologies for that
all right.
short
Please go ahead. Please take the floor.
issue. Okay, all right. Thank you. And just to follow up on what Confidence had mentioned, I think it's quite key. The first point of call is once you're in that situation, first things first is to contact your bank and inform your bank about what the issues has there. So there are two things. One is if your approach to response, if you're not able to carry out that response through the channels that are available to you immediately, and then you reach out to the bank so that the bank can then take much more quicker steps to help respond to that situation. So there are two ways to it. It's either you go through the self-service approach or you go through the bank approach. And I think either way you would get a quick result at the end of the day. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, finally, I can take about 1 minute closing words from the both of you. As but before I do that, let me just tell you what people are saying in the comment box. I hear Akin saying that I didn't know bank details were this personal. Thank you to Miss Confidence and Mr. Boo, and also to the coordinator Temi Badru for this great discourse. This topic cannot be overemphasized because cyber is becoming a basic part of everything. So if you have time, please go through the comment. I mean, we can't take all of the comments, but it is buzzing and it's full of great insights and learnings from people who are listening, from participants. So I just want to let you know that this session was not futile. This session was very helpful. So a big thank you to Abu and to Confidence, and definitely to Stanbic IBTC for putting all of this together. I think Stanbic IBTC deserves a round of applause from all of us and from people who are joining in as well. So please, let's take your final words as we wrap up, starting with Confidence.
Okay, I want to say that cyber starts with you, and you should take this very seriously. Also, don't stop here. Continue educating yourself on how you can stay safe online, because just as you take seriously your physical security by having a fence in your house, making sure that you have a security man, making sure that you have electrical barbed wires on top of your fence, and making sure you close your door and carry your key, and you're not dropping your key in front of your door. The same approach should also be taken for your online security as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you, Abu.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just to encourage our audience and our customers to constantly interact with our channels, constantly keep in touch with our social media handles, because we would actually continue to share such informations that can help improve the security around how they interact with the bank, or how they interact with any of our platforms through any of these channels. So I would encourage that we you pay visit to those our website official websites, our social media handles. You'll be able to get more information and more details on how you can stay safe out there. So I would encourage all our audience to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Abu, do I take this to be your closing remarks, or do you want to still say any more words?
Okay, so I'll just quickly thank Confidence, thank Tammy, thank the organizers, and thank Stanbic IBTC for also the opportunity. Then I also thank our audience for taking out time really to join this particular session and series. And it's not going to be our last. We'll continue to have these sessions more frequently, because we believe it's an effective way to reach out to our customers out there, and also provide better form of educating users on how to interact with our financial platforms, and also conduct themselves properly in this digital age, and where we see a lot of transformation and innovation around technology. It's not going to stop. Always going to be, the technology landscape will continue to evolve. So we will data and information that would continue to be out there. So we just need to, as much as possible, ensure that we protect what is sensitive, what could expose us unduly, and always reach out to us. Even myself, my information is public, so if you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly, and I would always respond and attend to you. Either way, we can also interact with our customer contact centers. They are also well equipped and informed to be able to respond effectively to customers. So these are my few comments or ending comments to you, the audience. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it's a wrap. It's been an insightful time. It's been interesting and enlightening. I mean, it's been really, really good. Just learning so much on this cybersecurity webinar put together by Stanbic IBTC. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Temi Badru. It's been such an honor to listen to Confidence and Abu, and of course, to listen to every other person who's dropped a comment, who's dropped a message or a question on social media. Till we come your way next time, have a lovely day ahead. Goodbye.
All right. Thanks. Bye.